as clerk to the committee this morning. Can I just ask that the live stream is started, please, Jen? Okay, I can confirm that this meeting is being held in accordance with the Licensing Act 2003 and the Licensing Act Hearing Regulations 2005, which allow councils to make their own arrangements for licensing subcommittees to hearing matters in connection with premises licenses. I will go to each subcommittee member to confirm that they can hear and be heard. So if you could verbally confirm that you are able to hear me, and I will confirm in response that I can hear you. Where practical, please also have your video switched on so that you can be seen by other members in the committee and the public watching. So this morning on the committee, we have Councillor Polly Andrews. Can you hear and see me, Councillor Andrews?
I can hear and see you.
Thank you. And we also have Councillor Sebastian Bowen. Can you hear and see me?
I can hear and see you.
Thank you. And lastly, we have Councillor John Hardwick. Can you hear and see me?
Yes, I can hear and see you clearly. Thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to request that officers who will be present throughout the meeting can also confirm that they can hear and be seen. Emma Bowell, Licensing Premises Officer.
I can hear and see you.
Thank you. And Alice McAlpine, who is Legal Advisor to the committee.
I can see and hear you, Jo.
Thank you. And Jen Priest, who's Technical Support.
I can see and hear you, thank you.
Okay, and as previously stated, I'm clerk to the committee this morning, and my name's Joanna Morley. Okay, so moving on. As the standing chair of the licensing subcommittee is not present today, the first item of business is to elect a chairperson for this meeting. Please, could I have a nomination?
I will nominate Councillor Sebastian Bowen.
Thank you, Councillor Andrews. And is that seconded?
Yes, I'm quite happy to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Hardwick. Okay, Councillor Bowen, you are confirmed as the chairperson for this meeting, and I will hand over to you now.
Thank you very much indeed, and thank you for electing me. I would like to welcome everybody to today's meeting. The council is video and audio streaming this meeting live on the internet and making a recording. The recording forms part of the public record of the meeting and will be available on the council's website. Please note that it is the council's preference that where you are able to do so, you have your video switched on. Please remember what you say and do in this meeting has a global reach, and your words and actions should be chosen carefully. Can I also remind members to ensure they are wearing their headsets if possible while listening during this and speaking, and this will ensure that the audio quality is of the highest possible quality and background noise is significantly reduced. There are some additional points for members and officers to be aware of. As part of our meeting etiquette, all microphones, apart from mine, will be placed on mute at the start and during the meeting. I will run through the agenda in the customary way. When you wish to speak, please use the raise hand function. I will then invite you to speak in order of the hands being raised. Please remember to unmute yourself to speak and mute yourself when you have finished. Please do not raise your physical hand, as I do not want to miss anyone who may wish to speak. Please note, the chat facility has been switched off to ensure that members' contributions can be offered through the spoken voice and for the public record. Please ensure all mobile devices are switched off to prevent interference with the audio and video system. If any attendee loses connection with the meeting will be paused to ascertain if the connection can be restored and restored quickly. If it is not possible to recover the connection within a reasonable amount of time, the meeting will continue as long as a quorum of subcommittee members remains able to hear the proceedings and be heard. If you plan to leave before the end of the meeting, please can you indicate this in advance? Are there any questions about the procedures before we continue? No questions, thank you. Apologies for absence.
No apologies, Chair.
Therefore, no substitutions.
No.
Declarations of interest. Are there any Schedule 1, Schedule 2, or other interest to be declared for items on the agenda today? Would you please do this by raising your virtual hand, and I will then ask you to speak to notify the meeting which item you have an interest in and the nature of that interest. I see no hands raised, and we will continue. Item 5, application for an expedited review in respect of Raspberry 156 Ein Street, Hereford, HR4 OAP. The purpose is to consider an application for an expedited review in respect of Raspberry 156 Ein Street, Hereford, HR4 OAP, under the Licensing Act 2003, called by PC 2368, Chris Lee of West Mercia Police. We will have some speakers now, and the order is Emma Bow on behalf of the Licensing Authority, PC Chris Lee on behalf of West Mercia Police. And do we have anyone on behalf of the premises license holder? No?
No, sorry, Chair. Can I just say we haven't received notice of intention from the licence holder. However, we have served the papers on them, and we've got proof of receipt that they did receive those papers this morning.
Right. Thank you. So, Emma, Emma Bow, will you please speak on behalf of the Licensing Authority?
Thank you, Chair. So as the Chair rightly said, this is to consider an application for an expedited review in respect of the Raspberry 156 Ein Street, Hereford, under the Licensing Act 2003, called by PC 2368 Chris Lee of West Mercia Police. The recommendations are that the subcommittee determine the interim steps necessary to prevent serious crime or disorder, or the both, at the premises. The steps that are necessary to assist with the prevention of crime and disorder are representations, including any supporting information presented by all parties, the guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, and the Herefordshire Council Licensing Policy 2020 to 2025. The reasons for these recommendations are that it ensures compliance with the Licensing Act 2003 and the Crime and Disorder Act of 2006. There are a number of options open today to the subcommittee. The interim steps that the licensing authority can consider taking are to take no action, or any of the following steps: modify the conditions of the license, the exclusion of the sale of alcohol or any other licensable activities from the license, remove the designated premises supervisor, or suspend the license. The license application is as follows. Powers to call for an expedited review are contained in Section 53A of the 2003 Act by virtue of the Violent Crime Reduction Act of 2006. And the powers allow that the police to trigger a fast-track process to a review to a premises licence where the police consider that a premises are associated with serious crime or serious disorder. And the licensing authority are to respond by taking interim steps quickly where appropriate, pending a full review. So the applicant is PC 2368 Chris Lee of West Mercia Police. The premise licence holder is MD Masood Rahul Minto. The expedited review was launched on the 15th of the 10th, and the interim steps hearing was held last Friday on the 16th and today on the 22nd. The current licence, which can be found at Appendix 1, allows the following: late night refreshment indoors and the sale and supply of alcohol for consumption on and off the premises from 5 p.m. until 23:59. The grounds for review and the Superintendent's authority are contained in Appendix 2 of the background papers, and the committee has to decide what action should be taken, if any, to prevent further outbreaks of the serious crime or disorder. So just a little background history on this application. The matter was brought before the Licensing Committee on the 15th of October 2021. The subcommittee were advised in that meeting that the records held by the council indicated that Mrs. Wahida Khatun held the premise licence and was also the designated premise supervisor. Following a query in respect of this raised under the Licensing Subcommittee meeting, an investigation by the Licensing Authority showed that an application had been made in January 2019. to remove Mrs. Khatun from the licence both as the premise licence holder and the DPS. The licence therefore should have been transferred to Mr. Minto at that point. To be clear, as of January 19, Mrs. Khatun was not the premise licence holder or the DPS at the Raspberry, and Herefordshire Council apologises unreservedly for this error and any embarrassment that will have been caused to her. So any decision today may have an impact on the local community. There are minimal environmental impacts and minimal resource implications. Equality duty is set out in the format of this report. There are legal implications that a premise licence holder may make representations against the interim steps taken by the licensing authority. There is not a time limit for this, for the interim steps, although this would be within the normal review period of the 28 days. There is little risk associated with this decision at this time, as the legislation allows representations to be made against those interim steps. Consultees of the copies of the application and certificate were sent to the responsible authorities and served on the premise licence holder. Appendices 1 to 2 are found at the back of this report, and the background papers served with the relevant pages of the Section 182 Guidance background papers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Emma. PC Chris Lee, next up, please.
Good morning, Chair. Thank you. The Raspberry is an Indian restaurant located in Ine Street in Hereford. It is a medium-sized premises licensed to sell, supply alcohol for consumption on the premises and provide late-night refreshment. It is located near to the city centre. The premises licence holder, according to police records, is a Masood Rahul Mintu, and I do hope I've pronounced that correctly. At approximately 5 p.m. on Friday, the 8th of October, 2021, a joint operation took place involving West Mercia Police, UK Border and Immigration Agency, Hereford and Worcester Fire and Rescue, the Gangmaster Labour and Abuse Authority, and environmental health officers from Herefordshire Council. This was intelligence-led, based on good information that employees working at the premises were being exploited. At the time of the visit, the premises was open, but with no customers present. 3 males were detained and found to be in breach of the law. One male who was working as a waiter was found to be in the country illegally and was subsequently arrested. 2 other males who were working in the kitchens were found to be overstayers, and following illegal working interviews that took place with the immigration authority, were not deemed suitable for arrest but were escorted from the premises. The premises licence holder was not present during the course of the visit. The employment of illegal immigrants in these circumstances is viewed as serious crime, and that could attract a prison sentence of 3 years or more on conviction. The actual punishment for knowingly employing illegal immigrants is up to 5 years imprisonment with an unlimited fine. The guidance issued under the Licensing Act 2003 also sees this activity as serious. Upon review, there should be some serious consideration given to revoke the premises licence where it is believed that the prevention of crime and disorder licensing objectives are undermined. Mercia Police have considered other options open to them to address this issue. However, due to the seriousness, the number of individuals found working illegally, it is felt no alternative measures other than would be appropriate than to suspend the licence at this time. At this stage, in order to promote the licensing objectives, West Mercia Police request that the licence be suspended for the premises pending a full licensing review hearing in due course. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Chris, that was very clear. Do we have questions? Well, first of all, do we have anyone who wishes to speak on behalf of the premises licence holder? Alice, do we have anyone?
We've had no request to join this meeting, and I don't believe that you've had any correspondence during the course of the meeting, have you, Emma?
I'll just check for you now.
Thank you.
No,
So
I haven't got anything.
No.
Thank you very much. We must proceed upon what we've heard so far. Do we have questions from the subcommittee members? Councillor Hardwick?
I don't think I've got any questions at the moment, Chairman.
I've just got one question, Councillor Bowen.
speak.
What has could perhaps PC Lee tell me what has happened to the workers who have proved to be here illegally?
Okay, the one that was arrested was obviously detained by immigration and would have been taken to a detention centre and would have been removed from the country. The other two, there's still inquiries ongoing with regards to those particular individuals, and I would understand that the immigration authorities would still be in contact with those two individuals at this time. Exactly where they are at this time, I do not know. It's an immigration authority investigation.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions arising?
Yeah, I will ask one question.
Yes.
As to whether there's been any contact, any sort of chat with Mr. Mintu at all since last Friday?
Emma, and then we'll have Chris.
Yeah, I can answer that for you. Upon checking the application for transfer and Very DPS, we found that it had no email address or no contact phone number. Hence, we only had a postal address for them, and that's when we sent a special delivery parcel yesterday to make sure it arrived before 9 a.m. We've got proof of delivery. He has, or somebody from that household has signed for it at 5 to 8 this morning, but we've had no contact from them.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Chris Lee, have you got anything further to add?
No, Chair, nothing further to add at this time.
Thank you. I think we'll then go to the adjournment. The subcommittee will now adjourn to discuss the application, and we will come back in, I think, 20 minutes to let you know our decision. I would be grateful if you could please rejoin the meeting 5 minutes prior to the end of the adjournment in case there are any technical issues which need to be resolved. You remain in the meeting if you wish to. I would like to formally request that the live stream is now. So the meeting is now custom streaming live, yes? No. Let us know when it is, please. Thank you. Welcome back to the licensing subcommittee. And before the decision is read out of the subcommittee, that is, could the subcommittee members verbally confirm that they are able to hear me, and I will confirm in response that I can hear them. Where practicable, please also have your video switched on so that you can be seen by the other members in attendance and the public watching. Councillor Andrews, can you see?
I can hear and see you, Chairman.
Councillor Hardwick.
I can see and hear you, Chairman.
Councillor, and well, that's it, sorry. Alice McAlpine.
I can see and hear you, Chair.
Joe Morley, Clerk. Can you see and hear?
I can see and hear you, Chair.
And can Emma Bow, licensee officer, see and hear?
I can hear and see you, Chair.
Thank you. And PC Chris Lee, can you see and hear, please?
I can see and hear you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, would our senior solicitor, Alice McAlpine, please read out the decision of this committee?
The licensing subcommittee has heard the representations and evidence from the licensing technical officer and West Mercia Police. Members consider the evidence shows that a serious offence has been committed at the premises and have noted the concerns raised by environmental health and the fire service. The subcommittee have considered whether any lesser alternative steps would be appropriate, but feel that such steps would not address their concerns. Therefore, the decision of the subcommittee has been to suspend the licence as an interim step until the full review is held. This will take immediate effect. The subcommittee considered that this action was both appropriate and proportionate to promote the licensing objectives, and in particular is required to prevent the undermining of the prevention of crime and disorder licensing objective.
Thank you very much. That was good to hear. Now, is everybody happy with that? I'm sure they are. Finally, before I formally close this meeting, Can I check with the Democratic Services team that the live stream has been switched off and we are no longer broadcasting or recording?